Last year, we helped agents unlock just over $5 million in GCI opportunities from the database that they already owned. Not by sending more emails, not by forcing meetings, and not by chasing cold leads. And what we learned is that most databases don't have a lead problem. They have a timing and a trust problem. So today I want to talk you through the exact shift we made from trying to book meetings directly to uncovering real intent first, and why that change completely altered response rates, conversation quality, and outcomes that led directly to GCI for our clients. This isn't about tactics, it's about how people actually make decisions and how real estate is actually done. This is how most agents try to book meetings from their database. You have a list of past leads and contacts, homeowners, etc. And the goal is to get them on the phone, right? So the message becomes some version of, hey, are you looking to buy or sell? Or let's jump on a call. Or even worse, you might just be spamming them with property reports, listing updates and reports based on the criteria that they put in 10 years ago, right? And on paper, that makes sense. Get more touches, get more responses. But in reality, it's collapsing the trust with your audience, and it is doing more damage than you can possibly imagine. And the problem isn't that your emails are necessarily bad, unless, like I said, you're spamming them. It's that you're competing in a completely saturated channel. Every homeowner, like this example here on the screen in front of you, has an inbox that looks the exact same. Market updates, check-ins, tips, predictions from multiple agents. And what you just have is a homogeneous blur of marketing materials that they never asked for and provide them absolutely no value. So even good content blends together when it all looks and sounds identical. And what's missing here is a trust layer, as Alex Hormozy likes to say, depositing goodwill to actually build up that trust and relationship with the audience before you ask and actually try to win a deal. As Gary Vaynerchuk puts it, it's jab, 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 left hook. And you need to give and give and give before you ask. And that's what we're going to show you today. So most agents try to jump straight from database to meeting before trust and timing are established. And the meeting is still the goal. We just don't force it as the first step. So as you can see here, we want to engage the database by offering them a lead magnet. This is the goodwill before commitment. And then we win trust that will lead to a conversation down the line. A lead magnet reduces pressure and earns permission before the meeting. And I'm sure many of you have tried lead magnets in the past. And most agents assume their lead magnets don't work because their content isn't good enough. But that's not the case. The actual asset, I'm sure you're all sitting on something right now that would be very, very beneficial to a seller. It's just you can't quite find a way for them to accept it. And just sending it to them without actual consent is spamming. So we need to find a way to overcome that. And the biggest lever that you can pull isn't actually changing the content. It's how the asset is framed. So the same guide can perform wildly differently depending on what you call it. People don't request glides. They request guides that bring them towards clarity in their decision making, which is the key in winning trust in real estate. And great lead magnets don't start with content. They start with context. Before you write a single word, you need to understand what's actually happening in your market, not nationally, but locally. You need to understand, are sellers confident? Are they unsure? Are they worried about money, timing, or making the wrong move? Great lead magnets solve this problem for them. And it can be the exact same asset framed as the solution to the problems that the sellers are feeling in your market. So now I'm going to jump into how we can use this exact prompt here and ChatGPT to reframe a lead magnet that you already have and make it an absolute hotbed for converting the sellers within your database. So guys, this is the tutorial on how to use ChatGPT deep research to actually repurpose the assets that you already have. I'm sure all of you have some sort of seller's guide. We're not trying to create more work here. We don't want to create more assets. We're trying to reframe the way we and be very, very resourceful with the assets that we already have. And I'm going to show you exactly how we can do that now using ChatGPT and deep research. If you don't know what deep research is, it's this function here on ChatGPT. So before I've put in this prompt, I have turned on deep research mode. And you can see here the prompt that I put in. Simply change this to your own market. I want you to research the residential real estate market in Tampa, Florida for single family homes. This can be whatever your niche is. If you're in commercial, that's fine. If you're in luxury, that's fine. And find as much info as possible on stats that pertain to buyers and sellers in the area. I want to have a crystal clear understanding of exactly what is going on locally in this market. Once again, depending on what your niche is, guys, answer these accordingly. You don't have to copy me. This is simply but a framework and a guide. You can see here, I've answered the time frame as the last year, the price range as mid to luxury. For buyer and seller type, I've done all segments. And for key metrics, I've focused on inventory and pricing trends. And then in terms of geographic focus, I find that most databases are spread much wider than you actually think. As an accumulation of your marketing efforts and networking throughout the years, they will not be concentrated to the area that you probably like to focus on. So cast a wider net when it comes to geographic focus, in my opinion. And you can see here then, guys, like, look how amazing this is. ChatGPT 2025 year in review for the Tampa Bay single family housing market. Incredible. Of course, this is a lot of information. I don't even want you to read it. I simply want you to come over here to the next step. I want you to think of the guy that you have in mind. So in this case, as an example, I have a single seller-focused lead magnet, a seller's checklist that helps homeowners think through selling their home. Using the market research and stats above, these identify the key fears, uncertainties, and decision blocks sellers are experiencing in this market right now. Then reframe this same lead magnet into 10 different positioning angles, where each angle speaks directly to a specific seller's pain point, reflects current market conditions, pricing pressure, inventory, buyer hesitation, timing risk, etc., would realistically prompt a homeowner who is thinking but undecided to reply yes, to get them off the fence, to get them to raise their hand. That is what we're trying to do here using these assets. For each angle, provide a short, natural sounding title, the specific seller concern it speaks to, and why this angle would resonate right now in this market. Start to see how, and then based on whatever way you use to market your database, guys, we can actually get ChatGPT to write the copy for us. So now write 10 short, cold emails using each pain point once to split test. I want to copy and paste these. And there you go, guys. Literally, from timing paralysis to pricing anxiety, fear of stale listings, etc., we have 10 fresh hooks to use our existing assets to get the sellers who are sitting in your database off the fence and to raise their hand. And then we can move forward with actually trying to convert them and pushing them towards conversations with you by first winning trust and depositing goodwill with the actual lead magnet. So the next step is obviously get this lead magnet to them as soon as possible. Now let's jump back to the deck. So now that you can see clearly what I mean by framing and context around your lead magnets, you can see that you don't need 10 different guides. You need 10 different ways of framing the same one. It's a fraction of the work that's going to get you a multiple of the results. And then you let the market tell you what it wants. So you don't guess, you test. So from all those results we found using the ChatGPT and AI, the 10 different ways of framing, we simply test our way to success. So if we take 1,000 leads from within your database and send each angle to 100 people, we can very, very quickly see based on the responses we get and the amount of people accepting the lead magnet, which ones actually convert. So let's say you're doing a seller's guide here in this case. So angle 4 and angle 6 have each yielded 10 replies. That's 20 potential hand-raising sellers that we've now identified in your list. 20 people who are willing to accept your lead magnet. And we can now really start to invest in these prospects and trying to build up trust, nurture that goodwill, and push them along the pipeline towards conversation by first blowing them away with value. And because the asset itself is tied to selling, the intent is real. We can invest time, resources, and effort heavily into these leads because they're raising their hand to something that is directly correlated to selling behaviors. So it's things like, should I sell my home? Pre-sale planning, timing decisions, what to do next. This is real intent, guys. And if we can actually work out what pain points it is that we're trying to solve for, what pain points it is that sellers are feeling in your market, or buyers, if you're more geared towards buyers, you're not manufacturing interest, you're uncovering it. And this is going to change your business if you can start to make an impression with real sellers who have real intent and real problems in those early parts of the decision-making process. And that's how you win the deals in your database. And that's how you systemize winning the deals in your database. So that's it for this video, is uncovering the intent. In the next video, I'm going to show you what to do after someone says yes to one of these lead magnets and how we can actually build up that trust even more through the law of reciprocity. That is the hint. I'll see you in the next video. If you enjoyed this or had any questions on the tutorial or what we're trying to achieve here, please comment below. And if you're enjoying the content, I would really appreciate if you could like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Thank you very much.